here is singer-songwriter, broadcaster, audio-video artist, entertainment agent, and your host for the dHarmic Evolution. It's the master storyteller himself, James Kevin O'Connor.
And welcome back once again to the dHarmic Evolution. Great to have everybody on board in the Music City with our second broadcast, the new home, the new digs for the dHarmic Evolution. It's where we belonged all the time, I think. So happy to have you guys back. And if you're digging the show, I'd like you to please do me a favor. Go to the dHarmic Evolution website, dharmicevolution.com. Check it out. It's a brand new look we put up there. And we have all the major platforms, whatever you like to listen on. Do you like to listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Pandora or Stitcher Radio, whatever it is? Give us a review and subscribe to this show. So when a new show comes out, it comes right to your phone, just like that. I dig when that happens. So now we're in Canada today, and I've got an old fave coming to visit. This girl can sing. She gives me chills right up the back of my spine on every song she does. And we're celebrating a new release of this fabulous single that she has. And we've got I think we've got the exclusive. I think we're pretty close. I think maybe one station has played this song. So you guys get the exclusive on this song. And this lady's been compared to Carrie Underwood, Kelly Clarkson, and she's got power, man. She's part down-home country girl, part sophisticated music veteran. She's a redneck princess and is certainly one of Canada's best kept secret, but not if I have anything to do about it anymore. So it is summertime 2019, and it's time for another fun-filled party. And once again, teaming up with her good friend, producer Marty Beecroft, Sunday Morning After is born. It's an upbeat, light-hearted, toe-tapping, boot-stomping good time. You better strap up your seatbelts, because it's time to take a ride on the dHarmic Evolution with Amy Rose. It's been a while. Amy, welcome to the show.
Hello, thanks for having me back.
It's so good to have. I think you've got to be my favorite Canadian, and I do have some kind of wonderful love for the Canadian artists and musicians. And your songs just seem to get me right where I live, and it's just awesome. Your new single is amazing. Sunday Morning After. Tell us about this tune.
I am so excited about this song. This song is like a song that was released 20 years ago by a Canadian pop artist up here in Canada. And I used to sing this song all the time in all my show sets. And I've always wanted to do a country version of the song. And everybody that knows me knows that I like taking songs from different genres and turning them into country. And, so I went to my producer with this song and I had said, hey, what do you think about this? I'm feeling some hardcore banjo, and and he had the same vision as I did with the song, and we just went with it.
Yeah, it opens with a banjo, and then it surprised me because I said, is this going to be sort of a bluegrassy thing? And man, it's
hard country.
Yeah, it's great. It's just great. And you seem to thrive in that environment. You just seem to have that going on. And it's beautiful. So why don't we not keep anybody in suspense? So here we go with Amy Rose's new single, Sunday Morning After. Check it out.
Up with a killer hangover, hope it was worth all this pain. I do it all over. By the time the party was over, tequila was my claim to fame. I couldn't remember. I was dancing with Jake when I left on my keys. That was my first mistake, 'cause what happened to me? I looked down at my arm, baby, and something's looking back at me. And I I cannot believe it. Oh my God, I woke up with a snake tattoo. Oh my God, and I think that my tongue spears too. Oh my God, it's the Sunday morning after, and baby, who the hell are you? Yelling, hey DJ, jack the volume, I love this song. And my clothes are selling on eBay, and I don't know what I'm gonna put on. How about town I came to, and it's all such a blur. And I'm blessed, I assume, but I'm really not sure exactly where am I now, baby? Wake up and tell me your name, 'cause this is insane. Oh my God, I woke up with a snake tattoo. Oh my God, and I think that my tongue spears too. Oh my God, it's the Sunday morning after, and baby, who the hell are you? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. My alter ego took over and took me on a fantasy ride. You can take me anywhere twice, but the second time will be to apologize. Oh my God, I woke up with a snake tattoo. Oh my God, and I think that my tongue spears too. Oh my God, it's the Sunday morning after, and baby, who the hell are you? Oh my God, I woke up with a snake tattoo. Oh my God, and I think that my tongue spears too. Oh my God, it's the Sunday morning after, and baby, who the hell are you?
Amy, that was really awesome. It's the Sunday morning after, and baby, who the hell are you?
I know, we've all had those days, right?
This was before children, so this is a family
Before
show.
children.
So,
This was in my early youth days when when I could chug a few and get up the next morning and be normal. Now it's like a 5-day recovery.
yeah, for sure. Hey, but not to sidetrack from the music, but just for a second. Last time we spoke, it was Dana, Olivia, and Ella. Is there any more children, or do we stop with the 3 girls?
We're stopping with the 3 girls.
Okay. Okay.
That's all this mama can take.
I hear you. So I'm going to guess it's 17, 10, and 8 now.
So 18, 11, and 9.
Oh, I was behind the curve by about 6 months. Dana, Olivia, and Ella.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dana's going off to college in September. She's moving to North Bay, Ontario.
Wow.
So we're going to miss her. I'm not too happy about it, but I'm happy that she's got dreams and she's got goals, and, what parent wouldn't be happy with that?
Right. Of course. And tell me let's talk a little bit about being a parent, a very active parent in the role of, being a mother that's like really there for her kids, which I so admire about you, because you didn't just pack it up and go on the road and say, okay, either Jeff, you take care of the kids, or farm them out to someplace. I can tell by watching your kids grow up on social media, and I just have to give you props for that, for being, the compassionate and the caring and mindful parent that you are. How is it all starting to play out as you see your role as a singer-songwriter and moving into more of an active role with, not that there's any less responsibilities for the kids, but there seems to be, I think, an opening starting to happen for you where maybe you can do more for your artistry. Is that correct? Is that a safe assumption?
Yeah, you know what? Like being a parent in this industry is hard. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of artists they're at the they're at the mercy of where people want them to go. And sometimes, you're there within a second's notice, right? You're told to pack your bags and, you got to go, right? And I mean, that happens sometimes. We were told, hey, you have to be down here in Nashville. And, I've got a really great support system, and I've always been, really open about that. I've got an amazing husband who, is along for the ride. And, he signed up for this. He knew what he was getting into when he married me, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I think he's got bigger dreams, for me than I've got for myself. And it's always been that way with him, right? So he's always been an amazing support system. I've got parents who are incredible, just a family. So, I mean, when I've got to go and, pack up and leave, they're there within a second and they're there to help. And, sometimes we try to bring the girls out on the road with us and do stuff. And then there's times that, it's not so fun for them. And, they're in school, and I'm all for the education, right? So, they're not getting pulled out of school to, follow mommy around the world. So, we go with the flow like any artist does with children. Some will take, their children out on the road. Some only tour in the summertime and take their kids with them. You know what I mean? When school's out. So we just kind of roll with the punches and, just hope that that's enough.
And how about the kids? They must be so thrilled. And do they really understand the caliber and level of artist that you are? Or are they still a little bit too young? Or are they just, it's mom? It's that kind of thing.
I'm just mom to them.
Yeah.
You know what? They all are very artsy in their own way. And I'm starting to see more of it and more as they grow and they get older. She's into acting so much. And she's multi-instrument talented. I mean, she plays the mandolin, she plays the piano, she plays the guitar, she acts. She's been in a couple movies. She was actually up in, was it Bracebridge recently? Bracebridge, Ontario, doing a movie with Vanessa Hudgens, a Hallmark movie that's coming out. She was an extra in that. So, I mean, she's got her own path that she's going on, and she gets the industry. And then the two little ones, Olivia and Ella, they're finding their way. They're, recently the one has become very musically diverse. I mean, she sings, Ella, she does a lot of singing and dancing, and Olivia, she wants to be a YouTube star. So, I mean, they all have dreams, just like their mom.
Right. Well, there was no way that wasn't going to happen with the influence around the house, I'm sure. Having a mother who is such a committed artist and such a talent. So, does it run in your family like the musical gene, like siblings, parents, nobody else, huh?
Oh my gosh. If you ask my parents to sing for you, you just don't. Just don't ask them.
I'll write that down.
In your ears. If you talk to my dad, he'll tell you that he was like an Elvis Presley in his day, but I'm fairly certain that is a complete aberration. He can't sing.
Isn't it funny sometimes how it, some families, it's like, I got it from my parents or both my parents. And then every once in a while, there's somebody like you. And I'm the same way. I didn't have anybody music. I had a huge family and nobody played. But now the next generation, all the kids are playing, which is great. I love it. My son is amazing. Like he's a singer-songwriter in Austin, Texas. But it's such a worthwhile gift to, like, when the kids do like receive it and embrace it, like it's just like this will be your best friend forever,
forever
when you are in trouble or whatever.
Yeah. And I mean, my parents were diehard country fans. I think we had talked about that in our previous interview. Nothing was played in our house but country. And I mean, like the classic country. So, I mean, we were always around country music. It's just my parents didn't play and they couldn't sing. But I mean, they loved country music. And, that was installed in me right from day one. So, I mean, I think I was 4 or 5 when I got my first karaoke machine, because it was right after I entered my first competition. And, they were big supporters. Like they had a big influence in my life for country music because it was played all the time. They just didn't give me the singing bug.
Right. Well, we're so happy that you got this singing bug. And why don't we just play this one? I just love this song. Just Want You to Know. This is Amyrose.
Looking at your picture from when we first met, you gave me a smile that I can never forget, and nothing I could do could protect me from you that night. Wrapped around your finger, always on my mind. The days are blank 'cause we stayed up all night. You and I were everything to me. I just want you to know that I've been fighting to let you go. Some days I'll make it through, and then there's nights that never end. I wish that I could believe there's a day you'll come back to me. But still I have to say I would do it all again. I just want you to know all the doors are closing. I'm trying to move ahead, and deep inside I wish it's me instead. My dreams are empty from the day you slipped away. I just want you to know I've been fighting to let you go. Some days I'll make it through, and then there's nights that never end. I wish that I could believe there's a day you'll come back to me. But still I have to say I would do it all again. I just want you to know since I lost you, I lost myself. Hey, yeah, no, I can't forget. There's no one else. I just want you to know I've been fighting to let you go. Some days I'll make it through, and there's nights that never end. I wish that I could believe there's a day you'll come back to me. But still I have to say I would do it all again. I just want you to know I'm fighting to let you go. Some days I have to say I would do it all again. I just want you to know.
Yeah, amazing. Just Want You to Know. Beautiful production. Everything about that just awesome. So take us into the studio with this one. Like just really such good things happening. Who were you working with on this one? And how did we get this sound?
Yeah, so this was my first international release to radio. So this was the one that really did it for me. I went into the studio with multi-talented producers, Marty Beecroft and Glenn Colson. People would know them from their VIP days. They were in that pop group VIP. Huge, huge here in Canada, huge overseas. They were like the Canadian Backstreet Boys. Right. So, it was such an honor working with them. And I become over the years really, really close with them, songwriting with them. Marty still does a lot of my producing. He actually produced the new single Sunday Morning After. But this was a song that we went down to Nashville. We had some heavy hitters on this one. And we just, again, went with the flow. recorded it, released it, and it blew up. I mean, it hit so many charts that we weren't expecting. It was, I think, released on like a top karaoke country songs of 2000, and like the year it was released. It was amazing. It opened up a lot of doors because of this song.
Yeah. Then, and just to backtrack, on Sunday morning after, has that officially been released yet, or?
Not yet, and you are one of the first people to play it.
Awesome.
There's another station over in Missouri that has played it, but yeah, you're number 2.
Wow. So the dHarmic Evolution has the inside scoop on this, and I'm so happy that you're working with Marty again, because there's a certain magic that seems to happen between you guys when you get together,
I love Marty. I mean, right from day one, we've connected. And I mean, he is it's almost like we share the same brain. And I mean, sometimes I'm not the easiest person to explain things, or, not that I'm a diva, right? I don't want to say.
Oh, yes, you are. Yes, you are. I've heard you sing, girl.
But, he just, when I say things, I'll just be like, hey, I'm picturing this dinghy here and, over in this thingy. And he knows exactly what I'm saying. I don't even have to say the right clarification for it. He gets it and he works with it. And I mean, it's always been that way with him. He's brilliant, the guy. And, every chance that I get to work with him is just a chance that, it lingers. It lasts. And I adore him. He's a great producer, great guy, great friend.
How did you guys get connected originally? Was it an introduction, or he heard your songs? How did you guys end up, working?
So that's a funny story. So I was actually pregnant with my last daughter, Ella, and Marty and Glenn were business partners at the time. They had After Tuesday Productions, and they were looking for some Canadian talent. And somehow Glenn Colson, who had done a lot of the negotiating, had received one of my previous songs, and he had got a hold of us, and he had said, can we meet? And at that point, I wasn't certain, because I had taken a break from music, and I needed to refresh and prepare myself for what I wanted to do next. Did I want to step out of the music career because I'd been in it so long and, just raise my family, or, just take a break to refresh. So, he had reached out, and at that point I had said, you know what, I'm pregnant. I'm not interested. I'm a couple weeks from giving birth. So, thanks, but no thanks. And, he's like, well, you know what, let's have that baby and let's touch base, in a month or so and just talk. And so all went well. And, I had Ella. And then about a month later, I got a call from Glenn again. And he's like, did you have that baby yet? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, let's sit down and talk. So, we went and we talked, and he had a lot of good things to say. And, one of them was, why waste talent? You know what I mean? Like, why waste good talent? You should be out there singing. And, and then we got together with Marty, and they had this, great idea with production wise. And it was probably one of the best decisions that I made, was to work with them, because it just, like I said, it opened up a whole new spectrum and doors that I didn't think were possible.
Well, it's almost like, it's incumbent upon you. It's almost a fiduciary duty at this point, because it's like, God gave me this talent and I just can't sit on it, and it's like, as much as, it's a kind of a dichotomy, because you love your family dearly and you want to do right by them. And it's kind of like you're pulled a little bit, but you get to fit it all in, especially when you have people like you just described surrounding you to make that available and make it happen, That's
Absolutely.
the beauty.
I've always been a firm believer that things are meant to happen for a reason. And I firmly believe that I was meant to connect with these guys for that purpose, because I was almost ready to throw in the towel. I was almost ready to give up and, just walk away from the music career, because it is a tough industry to get into. It's a lot of sweat. It's a lot of tears, a lot of criticism, right? You'll have a lot of people that don't like you, and you have a lot of people that do. But, like I said, it was meant to happen. I was meant to meet them. I was meant to work with them. And, the rest is history.
Yeah, it is. It's very demanding, and it takes a heart of a lion to stand there in the storm. And it's hard enough to put in the work to do your craft and to create. But then you have all these other swirling tornadoes around you of, the social stuff going on and political things, and they're all distractions, from what is the reason I'm supposed to be doing this. And I'm supposed to inspire people with my voice and my abilities that God gave me. So my hat is off to, I left my hat upstairs, but if I had it, it would be off to you for that. So I want to also ask you about, the next chapter as you look forward into like where you're going and everything. Do you sit and map it out? Do you say, I'm going to be doing this in 2 years, in 5 years? Or do you just kind of say, I'm just taking it like one step at a time, as far as your career goes?
I think a lot of this industry is taking it one step at a time, because you never know, right? It's funny how it could be just one song that does it for you, and all of a sudden you break out to this, major artist that every company wants you and everybody loves you. And a lot of people are like, oh, wow, she was an overnight success. And that's not a lot of the cases. It's a lot of taking it one step at a time. And, it's 10 years or sometimes 20 of overnight successes, right?
Yes.
And, when you hear their backstory, and, every artist, they all have a story. Everybody has a story. It just doesn't happen overnight. It's a lot of sweat and tears, and it's a lot of work.
It sure is. Excuse me. And, I'm just so happy that you are working with the people you need to work with, because, they elevate you to where you're supposed to be. And when did it occur to you that, did you have an epiphany one day to say, wow, I've got this voice that's like really, really captivating, and I kind of know what to do with this. Was there one particular moment in time that you had that, oh, what just happened here? I just woke up to the fact that, I'm bigger than I thought I was. And I'm not saying that as far as in a narcissistic or conceited way whatsoever. It's just, I finally realized the magnitude of the blessing that I have. Was there one particular moment that happened, or did it occur to you like when you turned 20 or after a gig or after a record that this happened?
That's a good question.
I ask very good questions, Amy.
You do. You are very precise with these good questions. That's why I love you so much. You're on the ball.
Thank you. I'm a fan.
Well, I'm a fan of you.
Thank you.
I adore you.
Thank you.
You see how I'm kind of stalling there, because I'm trying to think of when was that?
It could have happened like, and I know it's a very broad and overarching, reaching question, but it's like, there must have been a time where you finally said, because I'll give you an example. For me, I never knew I had anything going on until somebody made a comment like one day and said something about, the path. I've done all these milestones, and I just kept going, and said something very, very complimentary about, and they were comparing me to other artists who have labels and everything, and said something to the effect that you've done more than blah, 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 blah. And it was like, wow. And it just turned my head, and I started to pay more attention to, it's okay to be appreciated. I guess that's what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah. And I mean, there's moments, there's moments, that I sit down and I think, am I, there were times, am I good enough to do this? Right. Because like I said, you get so much criticism in this career, and not all of it is going to be, sunshine and rainbows. Right. So I've had my fair share of it over the years. And, some of it's like, well, you're good, but there's better. And, of course, I'm always a firm believer. And like I said, you might be good, but there's always going to be someone out there that's better than you. So it's what makes you different, what separates you from, the Kelly Clarksons and the Carrie Underwoods, because I've been compared to them vocally. Right. And I mean, they're amazing. I'm such big fans of those ladies, and, they've worked hard in this industry, and, being a woman in this industry, you've got to work hard.
But you're on that level. It's just that they have, the fame and fortune thing going. There's no difference.
They've got some good teams behind them, backing them up, and some great funds, right? I mean, a lot of this industry is, having the team and having the fund backing. to continue onto that level of stature where, because Kelly Clarkson at one point, she wasn't Kelly Clarkson. She was a girl, going on American Idol, trying to make it in the industry, just like the rest of us indies, right?
Yeah.
And, her voice stood out and, she got the break that she deserved. She deserved to, because she worked so hard. And that's what a lot of this industry is. It's working hard and, taking the criticism and, working with it. You know what I mean? Not getting upset about it, but saying, you know what, you're right. I can be better. What's going to make me better?
Right.
Or what's going to make me different?
I know what's going to make you better, and I think it's a little bit of sunshine. What do you say? Here we go.
How do I begin to stop loving you? How do I go on by letting go? How do I pretend I know what to do? Deep inside I know that I don't. My heart is weak, too tired to sleep. I'm incomplete, like a day without sunshine. God only knows this faded soul will stand alone.
So sunshine, it's like you seem to have, and it's you have this way of, when I think you've like peaked at a certain part of the song, you push yourself further, and there's a surprise right around the corner, and you go from, an A up to a C sharp or whatever it is. And it's like, wow, where did that come from? I had no idea that was coming. So when you're coming up with these arrangements, these songs, the writing, whatever it is, what's going through your mind as you're approaching these, and what is your production process to get these ready for? Like, is it a constant influx, like even when you're in the studio, or you're trying different things at the last minute? Or are you so prepared that you've got it just down like down solid? How do you do it?
No, you know what? A lot of the production. I mean, we do pre-production and we line out the song and go, okay, this is how, we envision it to be. But I mean, the real magic happens when you're in the studio and the unexpected happens, right?
Yeah.
A lot of those notes, came notes in the song because, I would do something and then, Marty would be like, whoa. Okay, hold that. Where did that come from? Let's go do that one more time.
Yeah.
And, do it with pizzazz or, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
They're just all tester notes, right? They're just, something that comes in and I'm like, oh, I'm going to try this. Let me aim for this. And then it just works, right? So it's all about the surprise of what's going to happen in the studio because you don't know until the morning that you wake up and you're like, am I going to aim high for this one today or am I going to do some low Johnny Cash? Or you just never know, right?
Right. So let me back you up just for a minute. So before we get to all that really great stuff, that juicy stuff that happens with all these talented musicians, where are you with the pre-production? Do you sit with a guitar? Do you have somebody play a piano? How do you prepare it to say, I want to have some kind of rough idea. There must be something that occurs in your mind that I want a general sense of it's going to go sort of like this. How do you prepare your demos to just get there?
A lot of the times it's, sitting in a room with the team, and we'll go through, first of all, we pick out the right key, right? Because a lot of the times we do the song in, a certain key and then we, start it and go, you know what?
So important.
I can feel a little bit more oomph to it. Let's raise it a key, right?
Yeah.
And then, so you get the pre-production down to, where you're anticipating it to be, right? And then you have the musicians come in and add their flair, so a lot of it is pre-planning. A lot of it's, pre-marketing, where do we see the song going?
Yeah.
What's the right time to release it? Is it going to interfere with this single? And that's a lot of, is it going to be marketable?
Right.
A lot of that's pre-production as well, right?
Yeah.
Do we see the song being something that, everybody can dance to or, groove to or, stuff like that?
Yeah. I think that's, it's such a great way to do things because you have the end game in mind already. And then I agree with you also about what you said earlier is about you don't really know what you're going to do with your voice until you hear what everyone else is doing because it just changes the concept of the song. In your mind, it's well, this piano riff is now inspiring me to do this, or this guitar riff is making me to get really into it and get a little ferocious with this note,
Yes.
So
it's funny because at the, not funny, but I mean, at the beginning of Sunday Morning After, there's this huh at the beginning of it, right?
Right.
And that's something that was never even talked about. It was just, I was sitting there and, I heard the banjo and I was huh, like that. And then we were oh my God, let's throw that into the song, right? And it worked. And it's funny because everybody I've showed it to has went, I really like that huh at the beginning of the song. It's not even a lyric, right? It's just a huh, but it kind of goes with it, right? So a lot of that stuff is just done on the fly.
Yeah.
And it's, whatever's in the moment at that time that you're recording.
Yeah. And it's, it's all about the inspiration that happens in that perfect moment that you don't know it's coming. None of that stuff can be scripted. It's just how you feel, and
exactly.
And this is why we make records. I had this young fella on from Philadelphia recently, and he said, I'm so embarrassed that I'm from New Jersey and I just started getting into Bruce Springsteen. I said, you shouldn't be embarrassed. That's why we make records. I mean, people got into Coltrane and John Lee Hooker 40 years after. So the fact that we can make records is a wonderful, wonderful thing because, it's emblazoned in your mind.
We go back and we can reminisce about them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Hey, let me ask you about last time we talked. You were an EMT technician, and that's not the right word for Canada, but you went out and you helped people. Are you still doing that?
I am. So,
God bless your heart, girl.
A lot of indie artists, they work, they work full-time, part-time, right?
Yes.
So I'm doing both. I've got the 3 jobs. I've got the singing career. I'm Hannah Montana, by night, and by day I'm an EFR Medicare.
Hannah Montana. So tell me about, I want to just ask, because you must run into so many fascinating things in your travels, assisting people who are in need, who are struggling or have had some kind of accident or whatever. Can you share with us, there was some kind of moment that happened that was just maybe not life-changing, but just like really, really turned your head to say, we either help somebody, we save somebody, or some kind of life transition happened?
Oh gosh, I have honestly, I have met some pretty awesome people, and some not so awesome people.
Yeah.
I've witnessed some stuff that has definitely made me evaluate people in this world. And some really scary stuff. I mean, I really can't elaborate on the patients, but I mean, you have some patients that just really scare the living daylights out of you.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
And I've had a couple of those moments where, you think, oh my goodness, like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
But then you meet some amazing people, and, it's reassuring. You know what I mean? You're doing something good.
Yeah.
And I love that part of it. I love that job. And I love my music too.
Right.
So yeah, I love what I do.
Well, I just want to say thank you for doing for so many that people just don't get a chance to say thank you, or they're busy, or it slips their mind or whatever. But on behalf of all of those who never get a chance, so I'm thanking you for them. I want to talk to you about the Nash thing. Now, I know you were talking about moving there. Do you guys still have that on your radar to at some time? And I know it's hard with 3 kids, and they're immersed in friendships and school and everything, so it's not an easy thing to just pick up and say, well, we're leaving, So are you still thinking towards that at some point?
That's always been the end game. Like I said, Jeff has had, bigger dreams for me, I think, than I've had for myself. And that's always been something that we talked about, maybe when the kids got a little bit older, we'd move there, because definitely everything happens in Nashville, right?
Yeah.
And I'm perfectly okay traveling back and forth. It's only, 13-hour drive from here to Nashville, and that's where I get a lot of my sleep, right? I just sit in the passenger side, and Jeff wakes me up when we get there, or whoever I'm traveling with. And my band will tell you a lot of the times I just sit in the back seat, and they stop for bathroom breaks, and they're like, oh, should we wake her? And they're like, no, wake her up when we get there. She'll never know, right? So I mean, it's not like it's a far jaunt from where I am in Barrie, Ontario to Nashville.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm perfectly happy just traveling back and forth. We've always been those parents where we want to keep our kids in a comfortable spot, right? And I mean, we bought a house in the city, 2 seconds away from our kids' school.
Congratulations. So, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where we can't move out of this house. We cannot sell this house until our kids finish at that school, because I want my kids to have one public school, one high school.
Yeah.
Me growing up, I had like 4 public schools. Right. So, and it's hard for kids nowadays, to make friends. And, so when they're happy and they're in that comfortable position, I don't like taking them away from, what they know best.
Right.
Because they seem to thrive when they're comfortable. You know what I mean?
It's a
they
security
excel.
thing too. They have to feel secure.
Absolutely. So, we would love to, we've talked about, moving out to the country, and because I want a pool. Jeff's not going to give me a pool until we move out of the country, because apparently you're not allowed a pool in the city, right? So yeah, that's, hopefully one day, we move to Nashville out in the country, and I get my in-ground swimming pool with my cabana boy. That would be awesome.
Don't run out of towels, buddy. Hey, I want to ask you, Amy, about your creative process, like when it comes to like writing and, preparing for like a studio thing, what is your best way to come up with music? Or do you sit at a piano? Do you just dream up melodies out of your head? Do you sit with a guitar? And like, is there a best time of day for you to where you feel most energetic to give your energy to the craft?
I'm always in the moment. I'm in the moment girl, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'll be at work and something will come to me and I'll grab out my notebook on my phone and just start typing it in. I've got literally, my phone is covered with, in my notebook there, it's got probably hundreds of like half finished songs, right? That,
right.
I haven't finished, but I mean, something comes to me and I write it down in the moment.
Right.
And then there are times, that I get together with other staff writers and we'll sit down and we'll write a song. Party Like a Redneck was,
yes.
I had walked in with Marty and Glenn and, Glenn had this vision of a song and he kind of had it partially done. And I was like, you know what, let's do this and let's base it on my redneck family. So, we did that and that's how Party Like a Redneck was born, right? It was just, we sat down together and we all wrote this song.
Awesome. I want to play this one now. This one, I just love this song so much. This is called One of These Days.
Wish someone would tell me when I won't think of you again. I'll get past the emptiness and let a little happiness back in, pretending not to care leaves me halfway there. One of these days I'll be completely over you. Heaven knows how long it will take. One of these days I'll find somebody who'll love your memory away. One of these days. Ever since you've been gone, time has a way of tracking on and on. Friends drop by to comfort me, but I'm not much company for long. Oh, I'll get past what was if I live long enough. One of these days I'll be completely over you. Heaven knows how long it will take. One of these days I'll find somebody who'll love your memory away some way. One of these
fabulous anthem. Yeah, One of These Days. How did that one come to be what it eventually turned into? Can you describe what happened in the studio with that one and, the reactions? I mean, they must have been doing like handstands in the control room when you finished the vocal on this.
So that was a song that was produced by Grammy Award-winning producer Dale Oliver from Nashville, Tennessee. And I mean, it was such an honor. That was my first single that I did with him. And I was just flabbergasted with the fact that someone from Nashville that was a Grammy Award-winning producer and, works with people like Carrie Underwood and Bucky Covington, wanted to work with this, Canadian redneck chick. Right. So we had spoke to Dale over the phone, and he had heard some stuff of mine, and he loved it. So we went down to Nashville and we did this single with him, and it was amazing. He's an amazing guy, super talented. And yeah, we just went in, and like I said, it was in the moment. We had our pre-production stuff that we had talked about over the phone, because at this point, I had already been down to Nashville to meet him and go over some stuff. And then we did a lot of the pre-production over the phone. And then I came back down to record the song in the studio with him. And a lot of it was in the moment. Again, I do something and he was like, whoa, let's do that. And let's layer it, let's do this. And I guarantee you, a lot of artists, everything's done in the moment, right? It's that moment in time, because you're putting your emotion into it.
Yeah. And
at that point, I was just so happy with working with Dale. So a lot of emotion was going in that song.
It's such a great song. It gives you chills, when I listen to it. And there seems to be a parallel of energy that is showing itself over and over. You work with Marty on Sunday Morning After. You work with Dale on One of These Days, but they're both two amazing songs. And so, there's a lot of what happens here is great when you have very, very talented producers, but there's the Amy Rose factor that's going on here. So that's the consistency that keeps happening, So one great producer, great project. Another great producer, great project. So there's something to be said to that. And there's also something to be said for, you just described writing with just a telephone conversation, which shows me that you don't need fancy offices and the great big writing studio and conference rooms and, fancy desks and tables. You need imagination, and the willingness, and to be able to just dig and say, this is what we have, so let's just get it done. And that is so cool, because then you're getting to the real core of what is songwriting. It's all about the imagination and the passion and the power you have within yourself. And when you connect with somebody like you do, it's like, look what happens. This is the end result of what we did. I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
So what about looking out, because we're getting closer to the end. We could go like another hour, I think, Amy, but I think the kids and Jeff and your career, or your three careers, are all going to be calling you. When you look out, like, let's say for the rest of this year, do you have anything that stands out in your mind that you want to accomplish for your career as a singer? Anything like coming up, any milestones you want to share? And also, if you would give a shout out to our audience in 71 countries, just any parting thoughts for them to say from you, Amy Rose, our Canadian Wonder Woman. Just give them any kind of blessings in your heart that you want to share with them.
Well, I want to first say thank you to you, because you're amazing. And I mean, what you do, continuing to support, indie talent, in this industry. And I mean, you interview actresses and actors and, everybody, right? And it's because of people like you that take time out of your schedule to, help people like me get out there and, show the 71 countries, who exactly we are at heart, right? So thank you to you, and the fact that you're really good for my ego, because you just boosted every single time I talk to you. I adore you.
Thank you.
And yeah, to the viewers, everybody tuning in. It's an industry that's tough, and like I said, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But all of this, goes to stand for people who have dreams and passion and, following those dreams and passion. Right. And, that's what we're here to do in life. We're put on this earth to do, stuff that, is going to change the world. And I'm hoping, someday that, I might be that person, that someone says, because of that song, it changed my life. Because I know, for Dolly Parton, she was that person who did it for me. Her music changed my life. And, it made me the artist that I am today because of her. And I'm hoping somewhere along the line that I do that for some, other up and coming artist. Right. So, thank you to everybody for tuning in. Thank you to you. Thank you to the fans who continue to buy my music and, follow me around and, listen to my songs and, see what's up in my world. Right. I just, I'm here because of you guys.
Great. And best place to connect is your website. Should we send people to best place to support you? And we will put all your socials in the show notes, of course.
Yeah. So you can connect with me at www.amyrose.ca.
Yes.
Yes. And then from there, you'll find all of my social media links, my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram. I'm like a bad rash. I'm everywhere.
Good girl. Good girl. Amy Rose, always a pleasure to hang out with you and chat and talk music. And I'm such a fan. I love your music, love what you're doing. And I just want to wish God's blessings on you and Dana, Olivia, Ella, and Jeff. And thank you so much for doing what you do and being a part of the dHarmic evolution.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sunday morning after. Just want you to know. Sunshine. And one of these days. These are the songs and the stories, the passions, and the amazing vocals of Amy Rose. Hey, we talked about a lot of things today. Dale Oliver, Marty Beecroft, Glenn Carlson, Dana, Olivia, and Ella. And thanks especially to Jeff for being our pre-production and post-production man getting this thing off the ground. We talked about Dolly Parton, Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood. Pre-production, tester notes. It's all about the surprise in the studio. And let's not forget, always in the moment. Amy is always in the moment. And the house in the country with the in-ground swimming pool. Don't forget the Cabana Boy. And Cabana Boy, don't forget the towels. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this interview with Amy Rose. Keep an eye on her career and go and support her. Just type in Amy Rose to anything. Everything will come up that is about Amy Rose. All her links are in the show notes as usual. And if you're digging the dHarmic evolution, please subscribe to this show and share it with somebody. Send them this show. And if you really dig it and you subscribe, it'll come right to your phone. And you can check out all the blogs on the website, the brand new website, dharmicevolution.com. Check it out. And the brand new player we put up there for podcast lovers. You can play it, share it. You can do anything with this player that we got from Pat Flynn. Thank you, Pat Flynn from Flynn Industries. Created this with his team. I love it. It's on our site. Really, really cool. And if you have not yet gone over to the dHarmic Evolution Facebook community page, you got to head over there. We put it up there to support other artists around the world. And if you're a singer, songwriter, if you're an author, speaker, thought leader, and you have a presentation coming up, a speech, a seminar, if you have a new song, a new video, maybe a photo shoot, maybe a gig you're playing somewhere, you might be playing in Shea Stadium and we don't know about it. Put your content on there. Let us know what is happening in your artistic world. You know, I met Callie Rivlin from London. She's an Israeli artist, and she put up a post on dHarmic Evolution Facebook community page. I saw it there. I loved her, and we became friends, and she actually had an interview on the show. You can check that out. Just go to the website. All the blogs are there for everybody's show. So please support the artists that are on that site. That's it for me today. I'm your host for the dHarmic Evolution, James Kevin O'Connor, singer, songwriter, audio, video artist, master storyteller, and international talent agent. So until next time, when we meet again, I'll either see you on the socials or I'll see you from a stage.